element method. If you recall the Laplace equation, nabla square V is equal to 0, and we had the boundary conditions. It could be either one is Dirichlet, another is Neumann. So in finite difference method, we had mentioned that we discretize the whole region of interest, and then we try to solve the bring down the partial differential equation in form of their algebraic equations and try to solve it. On the other hand, what we do is that finite element technique, that basis of it basically the number one Laplace equation, it goes for this way, that Laplace equation satisfies minimum energy principle. So we will have to say, of course, we have seen mostly the nature works on the principle of minimum energy. And here also we will have to say, if some solution which satisfies the Laplace equation, then also this will be, that solution will be the minimum energy principle, satisfying the potential area. So what does it mean? It implies that potential distribution takes place in such a way that total energy stored is that is basically WE we call it, is minimum. So basically that is, this is a WE is there. If we just around that point, if we put some parameter variations or change something there, the total energy, change in the total energy stored will be minimum. So by using this principle, we would be solving the Laplace equations using finite element method. But first important thing is that this has to be established. This has to be established. And can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now this has to be established, and we'll try to establish it in two stages. This one, of course, a little bit long derivation, but you will be able to understand, and I think it is not that area. So what we say, do this one, that first of all, first prove, or whatever we can statement one we can say. Total energy stored in a medium can be expressed as WE is equal to epsilon 0 by 2 volume integral of nabla V mod square dV. dV means the volume there. This is the first statement I just say, that total energy stored in a medium can be expressed as W, then this is the first thing we will try to develop in terms of establish in terms of our nabla V, that means the potential and its gradient, and then we will try to establish that the Laplace equation satisfies the minimum energy. So for that one proof we will give it. Total energy stored in a region of interest can be expressed in region of continuous charge distribution, can be given as WE is equal to half into volume integral into rho into voltage into dV, where rho is the charge per unit volume and V is the potential. This proof I am not giving, but proof is available that Griffith's book, that is Introduction to Electrodynamics. Which we have already mentioned. But anyway, I think this is not difficult to be convinced about this one without proof itself, because we know that in a charge stored in a capacitance is equal to half CV square. We know this is the relationship. Charge stored in a capacitance is, or rather energy stored in a capacitance is equal to half into C into V square. Or we can say it is half into Q into V, because Q is equal to CV. So from this one, if the charge is distributed, so definitely we can write it down as half of volume integral of rho into voltage V into dV. That is the basic analogy from which we can say that this is that. So we'll start from this point, but if we are not satisfied and if we want more further there, you can refer to the Griffith. But I think this is convincing enough from your analogy that this is okay there. So what we know, whatever our fundamentals of our field theory, whatever we have done it earlier, that rho is equal to divergence of D, that is basically nabla dot T from Gauss law. This we know there. So what we can, from these expressions, we can say that WE is equal to half into volume integral of, what is that? Nabla dot D into V into D small v. So this is our basic expression there. Volume integral is equal to nabla dot D into V. So D is equal to, we know, that is charge density. Now we have the vector identity. A vector identity, you can, it's there in a vector algebra book, we can find it, or in field book, that is a nabla dot f into a is equal to f into nabla dot a plus of a dot nabla f. Okay. So here obviously we will have to a there, that f is a scalar function and a is a vector. So that's why f into a dot product with nabla, this is also a scalar function, and f into dot product of nabla in dot a, this is also a scalar function, and a into a dot nabla of f, which is also a scalar function. So this we will be using this one. So you can easily say that you can analogously relate V with F and D with A, because V is a scalar function, so we can relate it with the F, and D is the vector function, and we can relate it with A there. So from this one we can write that V into nabla dot D, that means we are taking into this function on the left hand side. Then this is equal to nabla dot V into D minus of the second term I take it, that is a D dot nabla V. Okay. So only thing is that this term I take it on the left hand side and this one I can say it. Is it okay? Is equal to nabla dot V into D minus of D dot nabla V. Okay. So WE, where we started, is equal to half of V dot D, that is, sorry, nabla dot D into V into dV. This is coming from this expression. W is equal to half into, because rho we know, nabla dot D into V into dV. So if we say so, so now we can say that is equal to V into nabla dot D. This expression I can write it down as half into what is it? D into D dV, that is obviously it's a volume integral, minus of volume integral of D dot nabla V into dV. Agreed? Okay. So what we are doing is that replacing this one and we get this sort of relationship. Now we can say, look into this one. From Gauss theorem, what is it? Volume integral of nabla dot, sorry, I will put it third bracket, nabla d is equal to the surface integral of nabla dot, sorry, not nabla, it is basically d dot ds. Okay. This is your Gauss theorem. Nabla dot nabla d is equal to this is equal to d dot ds. So you can see that this part I can further simplify and write it down. Therefore, W is equal to half of surface integral of capital D okay, surface integral of, but there is a V term there. There is a V term there, and V is a scalar quantity. I can put it in any of the place there. So it is surface integral into Vd dot ds. Vd dot ds into minus half of volume integral of what is it? That remains the same. That is d dot nabla v into dv. Please check whether you are satisfied with it or not.
Sir, you have written Gauss theorem wrong, I think. Sir, this nabla d into dv equals to d dot ds. You have written like that. But it is nabla dot d dv equals to d dot ds.
No, first of all, this v is a scalar quantity.
But you have written del instead of v, right?
Which one? Once again, please, would you please tell me?
Nabla dot vd it is.
Nabla dot vd.
But in the Gauss theorem, you have written nabla d.
Sir, then the next step, del dot d, I think, sir. Gauss theorem, the left side, del dot d. It is del dot delta d you have written.
Oh,
I think
sorry.
it's del dot d.
Dot d.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So many nabla. It is. Thank you. So is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. So this is what we got the expression there. Further, we can write it down that okay. So this part will have to do the surface integral, and this part will have to do the volume integral. And definitely the surface integral means a closed surface. And if we say that we are doing it on a closed surface or like this there, I can choose any of the surface. So obviously it should be closed and perform the integral. So it does not give you anything that what should be the surface and what will be the shape of the surface. So we can say the integral is over any closed surface. That is the first part. That may be considered as a sphere of radius r. So what we are first concerned about this part. I would like to do the surface integral, but the surface I can choose anything as I like, and there is no harm if I choose that this says this integral is performed over a particular sphere there. And moreover, we say this R is very large, it tends to infinity there. So it's a very large sphere of this one. And we know that that the point is that, okay, that means we are considering in a very small area, but the surface integral is over a very large sphere there. And we know the potential at a point or like this, which is V, which is the potential. This changes inversely with radius. As we increase the radius, on the surface, the potential will be proportional to 1 by r. Similarly, so whole thing or region of interest, I can say point charge or point A there, but I am doing it at a very large area. And D is the flux density or charge density also you can say, and it is, this is 1 by r square, because it is total charge divided by 4 pi r square. So this is proportional to 1 by r square there. Now in that case, if I say that consider the first part only, I also write it down as surface integral of Vd dot ds, half of Vd dot ds is equal to, I can say it is half of Vd into, this is a surface integral over a sphere of radius r there. So what is the total surface area? It is 4 pi r square. Okay. And I can also write this is proportional to half of, what is d proportional to? 1 by r. What is v? What is d proportional to? 1 by r square, and this one into 4 pi r square. Agreed? I am just giving you a very simplistic approach for doing that one. So, if I change the radius, how it will be looking like this. So finally, it is basically, it is proportional to what we can say it is 1 by r, because this r and this r square cancels out. This is proportional to 1 by r. And we know that this r radius is very large, which is very infinity or like this there. And so I can say safely and confidently that this first term of this one is 0 if we choose a surface of a very big circle, closed sphere, sorry, a very big sphere, and then this term will be integral will be 0 there. And definitely this integral is not dependent on what surface do I choose. For any surface, it will also be the same there. So I can say confidently, the first part of this one is equal to 0 there. So we say now it is much more easy, because WE is equal to half of volume integral of d dot nabla v into dv. Okay. So what is d? Epsilon 0 into E.
Sir, there is a minus sign before that.
Where?
Uh, Before the half.
There would be a minus sign. Thank you. Yeah. So D is equal to epsilon 0 into E. This we know, that is there. And I can also say that this is equal to epsilon 0. What is E? It is minus of nabla V. This is minus of nabla into V there. So what we can finally come up is that WE is equal to, so fortunately this minus and this minus cancels out. So what we can say, it is epsilon 0 by 2 volume integral of what is it? Nabla V dot nabla V into dV, and what we can say is that it is the magnitude of its dot product. So it is equal to epsilon 0 by 2 volume integral of mod nabla V whole square dV. So this is your proof. So we can say that first of all, the energy in this space of like this, their energy can be expressed in terms of the gradient of V, and this is your expression. Is it okay? So what we can say is that when the energy is minimum, so what we have is that delta WE is equal to 0. That means we will have to say that epsilon 0 by 2 volume integral of nabla V mod square into dV is equal to 0. Okay. So this we will have to show that to convince that, okay, to find out the condition for the minimum energy there. Is it okay? Up to the first part of this, this proof, so it constitutes of the first part of it. Then I will go to the second part. So I say the statement two, Laplace equation with appropriate boundary conditions that is Dirichlet or Neumann satisfies minimum energy principle. That means that if Laplace equation, we have a space where it is satisfying the Laplace equation and it has got a boundary conditions which are either Dirichlet, which is well defined, or Neumann, then this will be, if it is satisfied, this del dWe will always be 0. The energy, the energy is always minimum. That's the thing, Laplace equation always satisfy the minimum energy principle. So this is the second part of the proof which we will be trying to do the things there. I hope. Any question up to this? If it is not, then I will go for the same thing there. So I will take you of this equation, again the vector identity, delta and nabla dot fa is equal to f into nabla dot a plus a dot nabla f there. So assuming in this case this f is equal to delta v and a is equal to nabla v. I can say it. So in earlier it was f is equal to v and a was d or something there. Now I say it is f is equal to delta v and a is equal to nabla into v. So in that case I can write it down, nabla dot delta v nabla a v, sorry, nabla v is equal to delta v into nabla dot nabla v plus of nabla v dot nabla of delta v. Just please check it. Nabla dot delta v into nabla v. Here it is f means delta v into nabla dot nabla v plus nabla v dot delta f means basically nabla of nabla f means nabla of delta v. Okay, accepted? So this we can say like this. So what we can say is that I can put all of them, that is a volume integral of nabla dot delta v nabla v dv is equal to the volume integral of delta v into nabla dot nabla v dv plus of volume integral of nabla v dot of nabla delta v dv. I can put it in this way. So this is straightforward. Now we will again take recourse of this Gauss theorem. Don't worry, it will be, proof is not that long and we will be coming some interesting conclusion quickly over it here. So from Gauss theorem, we have surface integral of d dot ds is equal to volume integral of nabla dot d into dv. So similarly what we can say is that this is the first term. I just write it, therefore volume integral of nabla dot delta v nabla v into dv is equal to surface integral of delta v into nabla v dot ds. Agreed? Now again, what we can say is that look into this part. We can say that again, nabla dot nabla v, which we express is as equal to double derivative, that is a nabla square v. So what we can say from this one, from this last equations, is that surface integral of nabla v, sorry, delta v into nabla v dot ds is equal to volume integral of delta v into nabla square v into dv plus of volume integral of delta v dot nabla v into dv. You see, there is a difference in the way I am writing it. Why? Because here it is, and you may always argue that it was nabla v dot nabla delta v, and how can you write delta nabla v dot nabla v? This is obviously an approximation, but the proof may be more difficult for two-dimensional or three-dimensional space, but I can give you some simplistic justification. Just 1 minute. So we can say that we can justify this statement or this simplification by this way, that what we wanted to show, that nabla of delta v is equal to delta of nabla v. That is, we wanted to simplify like this there. So it is nabla of delta v is equal to delta of nabla v. In 1D space, let him wait for half an hour. In 1D space, what we have it, we can say it is d dx of, say, delta f. Any function f is there, and the variation of the function is delta f, and I just try to say this is d dx of delta f there. So what we can say is equal to d dx of, what is the difference? f2 minus f1. Okay, two functions are there very close by, so it is, one is f2 and one is f1 there. So this way we can write it down is equal to d dx of f2 minus d dx of f1. So what is it? It is basically delta of f dash x. So I can really write it down is that the derivative of any differential function delta f is equal to can be expressed at the increment or the A of their increment or variation in delta of their differentiation. So in this way, I can safely write it down. This term is equal to this term. Is it clear? So what we can say is that is so this statement is probably justified. Now we come to this part here. Now consider Laplace equation is satisfied. So far I didn't say anything about the Laplace equation. It is a general A of any of a electrostatics relationship between an electrostatics. So if it is so apart from that, what we say that this is your Laplace equation apart from that is satisfied. So it is del square, nabla square V is equal to 0 there. And if nabla square V is 0, that means this part comes down to be 0 there. So what we say is that therefore volume integral of delta V into nabla square V is equal to dV equal to 0. Okay. So now this is basically up to this, and then on the two terms, one term on the left hand side and one term on the right hand side. Okay. Now again I would try to do the things there, try to simplify delta of nabla V dot nabla V. So I can write it down is equal to delta of any two vectors A dot A. What is it? It is A plus delta A dot A plus delta A minus of A dot A. Agreed? This is our basic A, what we do it for the making the increment or the deviation of this one. So this one I can safely write it down is equal to A dot A plus delta A dot A plus A dot delta A plus delta A dot delta A minus A dot A. Okay. So this term cancels out. This term is a very small quantity. I can consider it to be 0. And so what remains is that delta A dot A and A dot delta A. Eventually it's a dot product. So both of them are same. So what we can say it is approximately is equal to 2 into delta A dot A. Okay. So what we have is that so in this expression, this term equal to 0, what we can say the right hand side, it is volume integral of delta of nabla V dot nabla V dV is equal to, I can write it down is equal to approximately, obviously it is half into, because This is similar to the right hand side. Delta A dot A is equal to half into delta A dot A. So it is basically, it is half into delta of integral, volume integral. What is it? Nabla V dot nabla V dV. This is your right hand side. This is the thing there. And this is nothing but what we have it, half of delta of volume integral nabla V square dV. So what is there? That is equal to WE, because we have shown it already. Obviously there is one epsilon 0 term there. I can put it, I think, by W0 there. I hope you will not mind it there. Do you accept this expression? Please tell me.
Sir, also there is a delta before that.
Huh?
There is a delta before the W.
Thank you. It is delta WU by epsilon 0. Okay. So what we want, so basically this expression is the variation, is effectively represents the variation of energy. So what we need to show that the right hand side represents the variation of energy, and the left hand side we will have to see there, and this first term is already 0 there. Now obviously the first term, if we had seen it, that it is a Laplace equation, so this is 0 there. But while doing the Laplace equation, we did not tell anything about the boundary conditions. We did not tell anything about the boundary conditions. So naturally the boundary conditions have to be put, and basically we will have to, if we recall this one, the statement was that Laplace equation with appropriate boundary conditions, either Dirichlet and Neumann, satisfies the minimum energy behavior. So we are close to it, but what we need to show that surface integral of delta V into nabla V dot ds equal to 0. This represents that delta WE equal to 0. So we have to show that if I can show the left hand side equal to 0, we can conclude that d delta WE is delta WE equal to 0. Now we will have to look into these things there. So what we can, so basically this one we will be doing the surface integral, we will have to do it, and this one we will be doing using the we will take use of the boundary conditions, whether it is a Dirichlet or Neumann, we will have to do it. So this is a surface integral, but if we look a 2D space or like this, the long one, we can think of, for the simplicity, we can think of a 2D space, basically this one here. So I just come back to the problem suppose it is water, or say we say it is dielectric. So what we can say is that if we recall, this was the shape we had mentioned as annular flow. And we said that it has got some importance in applications in finding out the area in void fraction there. So if we recall that this one was plus V1, this voltage was applied minus V1, this was insulated, and this was bubble there. That means air itself. So it is basically it is air, I call it. So this is also air. Okay. So it was a mix of Dirichlet and Neumann boundary condition. Up to this period, what we say, this is, or rather this one range, what we say, this up to this range, the voltage is defined. So I say I don't allow any variation of voltage. So it is delta V equal to 0 there, because voltage is specified. Next, what was the boundary condition here? Can you tell me? What was the boundary condition? It is a non-metallic tube, and here inside two metals are being inserted and we are applying some voltage. So if it is a glass there, so what is the boundary condition there? Can you recall? Please go back your notes, few pages. Yes? Anybody? What happened? Is there anybody present or no? What we said about this, you know, suppose this one, okay, this is a, if it is not dielectric, we can put it as a conductive also. I put it conductive also. So it is the, A is sigma. It is some sigma there is the conductivity there. So we know that E is equal to J into sigma, where J is the current density.
Sir, it is J by sigma, sir.
J by sigma, thank you. So what is the current density? J by A there. So what is the electric field in this direction? What is the electric field in this direction? Is there any current flowing there?
0, sir.
This is equal to 0. Why did it take so much time? So whenever there is an electric A there, the electric field is 0, or I can say it is delta V del V del N in the normal, it is equal to 0. Del V del N equal to 0 there. What is the electric field or what is the boundary condition in this side? Same thing, it is del V del N equal to 0 there. Okay. So what I wanted, and very interesting thing is that, what is the boundary condition in this case? It is del V del N equal to 0 there. Okay. So I am taking the 2D space for the sake of simplicity, and we are taking that all the boundaries are defined in these cases either by Dirichlet condition by specifying the voltage, or the Neumann condition, and where the del V del N, that is the gradient of potential gradient in the normal direction, and I said it was earlier specified but I now specifically say in this case it is del V del N equal to 0 there. Okay. So, what we can say is that, is it okay? Because this is very important. I say that whatever be the boundary, either the potential is defined or it is an insulator, or like this there either del V del Z, del V delta V equal to 0 or del V del N equal to 0 there. Okay. So, if it is so, just another 5 minutes, then I will give a break. If Laplace equation is satisfied, then what we say is that half of volume integral of nabla V whole square, obviously it should be a delta of that one, into dV is equal to surface integral of delta V nabla V dot ds. Okay. So, whatever we had told it, I am just rewriting the things there. Or I can say that this is equal to surface integral of delta V into del V del N dot ds equal to 0. Okay. Because the ultimately the A derivative is always on the normal surface of this one. Now consider a 2D surface as shown. Normally any surface or any other surface I have shown it. But what we wanted to say is that on the boundaries, so what we can say, either delta V equal to 0 or del V del N equal to 0. You see what we said, either delta V equal to 0 or del V del N equal to 0. So, you define the surface, break into the two surface into two portions. One is where voltage is defined, where delta V equal to 0, or where it is the surface is insulated, where delta V del N equal to 0. So, if either of them, because we know that over the boundaries, either the V or del V del N should be specified. So, naturally then only we will have a unique solution there. So, either this will be 0 or another one will be 0 there. So, what we can conclude that from Dirichlet or Neumann conditions. So, therefore, what we can say, I can say this will be always equal to 0. So, what we say is that so therefore, dWe equal to half of what is, I think this will be delta okay, this will be epsilon 0 by 2, isn't it? Epsilon 0 by 2 into delta of volume integral nabla V equal to 0 into dV. This is equal to 0 there. This is what we said is the minimum energy principle. So what we had looked into the statement that Laplace equation with its appropriate boundary conditions, that is Dirichlet or Neumann, satisfied the minimum energy principle. So we did not solve the equations. We need not solve the equations, and as we had did it in by A there, finite difference method, put the boundary conditions on like this. If their boundaries are defined in this manner, this will be automatically satisfied and the Laplace equation will be satisfied there. So what we can say that, so by finite element method or like this, we can get solution of Laplace equation can be obtained by setting W dWe dV equal to 0. So finally we say the potential, whatever may be, what we can say is that this potential is defined at these 2 points. Other points, say at all the points, the potential is uniquely defined like this there. So all the points at any points, I can say I can find out the potential by setting that the potential will be such that this will be always be satisfied, that dWe dV equal to 0 there. So that is basically the basis of finite element method. That is, it employs that minimum energy principle here there, that employs that advantage of this one and then tries to solve it. We will see after the break how do you apply the finite element method, how do you solve it, but mind it, this is the first thing, is that in finite element method we will have to ultimately see that whatever be the energy stored or energy here there, if we vary with voltage there, that should be always be 0, and this of course, this one we use that one, and indirectly we solve the minimum energy principle problem and try to get the potential distribution of this one. And we know if we can find out the potential distribution, we can always find out the resistance and capacitance and all these calculations there. And mind it, this principle or this one, this minimum energy principle, is valid not only for electrical systems, but all structural systems, mechanical, electrical, or even micro electromechanical, and all the things there. And so this one, whether it is a civil engineering problem or a mechanical engineering problem or an aerospace engineering problem, we solve this here there. Those equations. So Laplace equation is always satisfied, and then always we can solve that one there. Okay. Any question? Otherwise, I will give a break there. Do you have any question right now? Is it okay? Okay, then we will give 5 minutes break. You can also think of. Then we will come back and discuss that issue. happy to see that one. But we will have a test shortly. With 1 week notice we will be having, maybe first week of February or something there. And before that, we will be giving some assignments on finite element and finite difference and the conformal mapping there. Assignment 3 it would be. So with which Karuna will be sending you shortly either today or tomorrow, and with a timeline of submission, say 1 week like this there. And we will also have a class test, we will announce it. And I intend to start, we already told that we will have to start the seminars. So naturally, all 60 people have to give seminars, so which is going to be a little bit tough, but we will arrange in that way very tight schedule that in one class, 1 day of this lectures, what will be totally dedicated to there. Your seminar, at least 4 seminars should be there in his there. So we'll ask present 4 students to present on 1 day. Don't miss it, because if you miss it, we will not be able to give you any date. So naturally, the seminar will be we will not be able to judge you properly, and seminar marks we cannot put it. So that is the thing there. Whatever we have told, you find out some abstracts. We are trying to going through them, and some of the abstracts which we found it okay, you are doing it, we have studied these things, and then we would be asking you to please present these things in the next class. So next seminar will be on 3rd of next Wednesday, possibly 3rd of May. So, Karuna, are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, so please announce what is to be done.
Yes, sir. So basically, I have already sent messages to 6 students right now for to be prepared with a presentation for a seminar on February 3rd. So I can announce their names right here again.
Or you can send them a mail also. Okay,
yes, sir. I have already sent them messages. I have already sent 6 students messages. Okay. Yeah.
So you please be prepared, and naturally 10 minutes is allotted for you for the presentation, quick presentation, and then followed by some questions like this there. So at least 4 will be giving the seminar. So we need to confirm which 4 are giving. I think please, Karuna, you please be in touch. Okay. And after the presentation is over, what we expect that you will write a report on this topic. And definitely it is not that there may be a huge amount of research going through it or like this, but we'd like to learn from you what is the important thing about this one, and just as in a simple language, what are the important contributions or importance of this topic, and what are the recent developments in this area, so that we can be motivated, and probably next year we can include that topic as in the advanced sensing technique. So everybody has to give a presentation and followed by one report that should be within a week or so after the year there. And then we'll go on and we'll also announce it. And in between, we'll hold one year there. Class test, mostly class test, we'll try to hold it on Saturday. We'll tell you those things. Saturday, I think will be, what is the year there? You please suggest what will be the year there. Maybe 9:30 to 10:30 or 11:30 like this there. But 3 class tests will be also be there. One is in the beginning of February, one in beginning of March, and possibly 3rd one is around middle of April there. That would be our target there. So this is the way we are going in, and if you have any difficulty, you can write us to and mail us. We will be discussing those things there. And but these problems which we should be sending it today or tomorrow, please try to solve them. These are related to finite difference as well as conformal mapping as well as the finite element methods there. Okay. So then we can continue what we had left there. So I just rub it off completely. I hope you have understood. And this part, I think in Hyde's book or Ida's book, you can find it, all the details. Hyde's book, it is better explained. So now what we have found is that is the energy function, WE. And this energy function, so delta of WE equal to 0 there, or we can say it is, we will have to find out dWE dV equal to 0. We will have to solve it in a space there. And it doesn't mean what is this is the WE is what is the energy function there. It could be electrical energy function, mechanical and kinetic energy function, potential energy functions, and all the things there. So that's why the technique of finite element method remains the same. That is, the solving this partial differential equations with the boundary values problem by using finite element, by using a particular following a particular systematic steps, we can solve it like this. So that's why primarily whether it is a potential distribution or like this or heat distributions or many other there you can solve. So ultimately finite element does not look into what type of problem, but the procedure is same, provided we employ we can find out an energy function and try to minimize the energy function, we can get it like this there. So we say that the basic steps of for 2D finite element analysis. So what is finite element? Why finite element? We will try to explain right now. But by our major concern, I can put it in this way that, okay, the Laplace equation, we want to solve it using the minimum energy principle. How do you do it? We have seen it how to do it with the finite difference technique, but finite element, how to do it, what are the steps, we like to know that one. So for that one, it's a 2D space, I am taking that one. And I say this is your X and this is your Y there. And I taken 3 points, 1, 2, and 3. And say their coordinates in xy planes are x1, y1, x2, y2, and x3, y3. Okay. So just I have considered any elementary triangle. I will see that also there are, though I have considered an elementary triangle there in this case, but into this space, but it could be elementary quadrilateral also, it could be there. And 3D space, this elementary triangle will be elementary pyramids and etc. there. So those things will be out of our scope, but I am just taking a simple case of elementary A there with 3 fixed points there. So consider an elementary triangle the potential on the triangular element can be expressed as so I said that these are potentials are distributed and this one actually depends upon their x and y coordinate. In general, I write it down as v of xy at any point plus bx plus ca. Mind it, there is no square term, no xy term or like this there. So this is our simplified assumptions there. So if the potential is depends upon some constants and some x and y and their linear operations there. So if the potentials at the vertices are V1, V2 and V3. That means these two potentials I know V1, V2, V3. I just wanted to know any point at this point or any point nearby point A there, what is the potential there. So if they are known, so A, B and C can be obtained from V1, V2 and V3. Basically 3 equations, 3 unknown. So in A we can write it down that it is equal to V1, V2, V3. I just put the values there. It is 1, x1, y1, 1, x2, y2, 1, x3, y3 into A, B, C. Basically, this is the equation. From this one, we can write it down in 3 equations like this there. So we can say that we can find out that I just put it in this way that what are the we can find out ABC is in this way. So and ultimately we can write that okay, I'll do it in this way. At any point, potential at any point on the triangle V of x of y, we know the coordinate of that point is equal to 1 x and y, then it is what is this 1 x1 y1, 1 x2 y2, 1 x3 y3. This should be inverse, and then what we have is that is V1, V2, V3. So basically here we try to find out A, B, C is equal to this matrix inverse, and it is V1, V2, V3. And this matrix is nothing but inverse of this one, and obviously 1, x and y, that is the way I just put it in this way. So what we wanted is that these are all constants, V1, V2, x1, x2, x3. Only if I know x and y, I can find out the potential at any point here. And I just write it down in this way, just only one step. I will not go further. That this is equal to V is equal to 1 x y into 1 by delta. Delta is the twice into area of the triangle. These are simple matrix inversion here. So 3 by 3 only. It is, I will write it down x2 y3 minus x3 y2. Then it is y2 minus y3. Then it is x3 minus x2. And then it is x3 y1 minus x1 y3. Then it is y3 minus y1. And here it is x1 minus x3. Then it is x1 y2 minus x2 y1. Here it is y1 minus y2, and here it is x2 minus x1 into, what is it? V1, V2 and V3. So this is basically the inversion of this matrix, but I may have done wrong, so please check it once again there. Okay. So what we can say from this way, just you will get some V of this one, so it is a scalar quantity. So what we can say that this is, in general way, I can say that Vxy can be expressed as alpha 1, which is x comma y, into V1 plus alpha 2 x comma y into V2 plus of alpha 3, a function of x comma y into V3. So if we just put it, there are x and functions, these are all constants, and this is V1, V2, V3. This will be a way we can express it. And this one, if we further want to know what is the value of alpha 1, I can give you from this one. Just follow the steps and we will get it like this there. I am just simply avoiding those details. X2, Y3 minus of X3, Y2 plus of Y2 minus Y3 plus of into X plus of x3 minus x2 into y divided by, close bracket, divided by 2a. That is the 2a is the area of the area of the triangle. So basically it is 2a. Okay. So, just you do the things, manipulate it, and similarly we can get alpha 2 an expression and alpha 3 an expression. So, what I wanted to say is that what is important to show that, which is all we will know, that it is possible to express and obtain the potential distribution in any point inside the circle, or triangle, or like this, by this expression, provided we know in terms of the three vertices there. Is it okay? So, what we can, any question? So, I think this part I am removing it. Basically, this is the triangle. We'll try to draw it if it is like this. This was the triangle there. So, in general, we can say V of xy from this equation. I can write it down as I is equal to 1 to 3 Vi into alpha I x of y. Okay? V of, because the thing is that it is 1 by 3 V of xy, it is alpha I. Because in alpha I there are terms of x and y, mind it. So it is alpha I, so alpha I is a function of x and y, and that we multiply with Vi, V1, V2, V3, and this is like this there. Okay? And which is a function of them, among them V1, V2, V3 are fixed, x and y, so alpha I is basically functions of are functions of x and y there. So, what we can say, what is nabla V? That is the derivative of potential there, nabla V or electric field or like this there. I can say it is equal to I is equal to 1 to 3 Vi nabla alpha I, because Vi is constant, 1, 2, 3, these are all known, but x and y is varying. So, naturally, in alpha, they are in alpha. So, it is nabla Vi there. Okay. So, if I put it in this way, I put it in equation 1 there. So, energy stored in a single triangular element in 2D space WE in a single element. What I will write it down? We know this is equal to volume integral half of surface integral, because it's a 2D element. Instead of volume, I it surface integral, that is nabla V square dot, or basically ds itself. We can 2D element, it is ds there, because nabla V square is a scalar element. This is also a scalar element. So, our objective is to, in a single element, this is the thing there, and then from there we try to generalize these things there. So, up to this, if you are you are convinced, then it is fine. We can stop here and go for this one in the next class. Any question up to this? So basically, what we are trying to do is that this is a single element, I am trying to do it. And for this single element, I will have to find out how to calculate delta WE equal to 0. Mind it, there may be some epsilon 0 here and there, but we can take out always, because there is it's always constant, and redefine the energy function. So delta W equal to 0, and then we will proceed further there. But how to do it, and that is there. We will try to solve it in the next class there. So any question up to this? Any question? Yes? If it is not, I will be taking attendance right now. Today is 27. Please give your attendance. Pritam Rao. I don't find Pritam Rao in any of the classes. Bharat Naik. Ayush Anil Gupta. Lakshmi. Vishwa Vikas. Kalyan Raman.
Present, sir.